Are they going to stay at the top? That's what we want to know.
Exactly.
But I think they are safe. Okay. Well, I mean, we've spoken quite a lot about Falcons, but it looks like we do have an extra segment for you guys. We're going to be taking a look at the character building of Lost. Let's check it out.
Então é nosso estilo mais sair pra trocar tiro. Quem a gente vê, a gente vai matar na frente, porque a gente é muito confiante e sabe que vai ganhar. O rival vou colocar como o Fluxo, né? Que eles são os campeões mundiais atualmente. Bom, a gente já ganhou de vocês esse ano e agora nós vamos pra ganhar de novo aí. Toma cuidado. Nosso campeonato regional lá no Brasil é muito complicado, são muitos times bons, tanto que cada ano acaba mudando os times que vão para o Mundial e tal, porque a região é muito forte, então é muito complicado jogar lá e jogar contra o Fluxo também, que é o melhor time do mundo atualmente, mas dessa vez a gente conseguiu sair campeão.
Ele vem, ó, pra cima, como tem sede, a direção é uma só, vamos na ringue, já chamou na distância também, Lost! Equipe campeã da WB!
A maior motivação é saber que o título que me falta é o Mundial, sabe? Porque a gente já ganhou bastante, ganhou de tudo já. Campeonato Brasileiro, Continental, a única coisa que tá faltando mesmo é o Mundial. Então a gente vem bastante motivado para ganhar esse ano, se Deus quiser. Então, para se provar, a gente tem que ser campeão aqui e vai ser dessa vez.
There's a reason why Lost is being highlighted, and it is because not only are they champions looking down upon their own region, but also potential champions here at EWC 25. And just seeing their first play day yesterday for day 2, they looked so good, so on point. The chemistry was there. And I think the question we now have is, are they really world champion material? I think they're really close. Raja, I'm pretty sure you're more familiar with Lost than the rest of us on the panel. What is it that Lost does that makes them such a high quality team?
Well, I saw an interview and I also wrote it down here. I will say like the general words. Well, he'd say that they are really confident with the players' individual skills because they already have like one of the top 3 rushes. Rushes from Brazil. But when they need, they know how to play it safe. So I mean, they can adapt in every type of play style. So they can even beat Asian teams. And they are not even used to it because, well, they do not play that much against Asian teams, but they also can do it. So I think they are really capable of, getting the trophy.
Speaking of some of these teams now, I mean, if they're coming in looking confident, that's when I get worried. Adjustments are going to be made, but more importantly, being stubborn also has its perks, right? It means that other teams must adjust around you rather than, hey, we got to figure things out.
Yeah, back to Lost. I mean, from last year,
three of the players are returnees in EWC. So I guess this is redemption for them. They were almost in there. They were almost in there. If it wasn't for Team Falcons, they could have grabbed that championship. So this is probably one reason why they studied Southeast Asian and the other teams as well, and they're doing so well.
Yeah. Now, hopefully, if we can, we would love to see the total rankings one more time before the match begins, because I think everyone wants to know, where is everyone currently standing on that leaderboard? Because Neptune, on the way to the venue, we had a really interesting discussion, right? The odds of teams making it to top 12. Now, run us through the numbers. Who do you think is most likely to make it through, and who may just make the cut?
Yeah, I mean, just running through basic calculations first, if we look at the teams from ANC, double their scores, and it's only Virtus Pro who might be able to go and take over against Alpha 34, who's currently the bottom of Group B. But there's still also some risk for Hotshots right now, because once I did some simulation, Hotshots was just ending in there on the top 12, and it's a potential that he can be thrown out. They can be thrown out of that top 12 spot. But for the rest of the teams, 3 simulations has been done. The result's always the same unless they really bump it up for this day.
Yeah, so it seems very top heavy for teams in Group B. Well, we're going to have to see what happens there. But one thing we do know is that we have an interview lined up with Bororam. So let's see what Bororam have to say before they kick off their first match today.
Hi everyone, it's Kyungso and welcome to our interview with Buriram United Esports from Thailand. Hello everyone. So yesterday you guys already have yourself a first booyah, but after that everything seems to be very slow down. It's still like what happened?
ก็เมื่อวานนะครับผมเราได้บูย่าไปแล้ว1รอบแต่ว่าหลังจากนั้นเนี่ยรู้สึกว่าแบบทุกอย่างคือแบบดูช้าลงไปหมดเลยดูเหมือนเป็นขาลงหน่อยๆไม่ทราบว่าเกิดอะไรขึ้นบ้างครับ
ก็ ผิดพลาดตอนแบบว่ามูฟนิดหน่อยครับมูฟเข้าวงอย่างเงี้ยครับผิดพลาดกันเล็กๆน้อยก็ไปปรับปรุงก็แก้ไขมาวันนี้ก็ทำให้ดีครับ
So I think it's kind of like butterfly effect because after we got the first booyah we have made such a small mistake over and over again. For example, like we are moving into the last circle like a bit too slow, so everything went down from that point.
Alright, I understand. So yesterday it's just a little small mistake, but I think today Buriram will come back stronger. So what is your goals today and what are you expecting the most for today's match?
ก็วันนี้คิดว่าจะเป็นยังไงบ้างครับแล้วก็เราเตรียมพร้อมยังไงมาบ้างครับ
ก็ถ้าเตรียมพร้อมก็เราก็ให้การซ้อมข้อที่ผิดพลาดอย่างหนักครับแล้วก็วันนี้เราก็ได้จะทำเต็มที่น่าจะผลงานน่าจะออกมาดีครับ
So we will try our best in today's matches. So after yesterday's match, we went back and keep looking into one by one of our small mistakes that happened during the games, and hopefully we already fixed all of them. And let's see what's gonna happen in today's game.
I think today's Buriram is gonna be okay, like usual. They are king of Booyah, so they're gonna make it into the quarter stage and of course the grand finals. All right. Okay, so how do we say fighting in Thai?
สู้ๆ
Okay, ค่ะสู้ๆนะบุรีรัมย์
So to Bororam fans out there who might be a little concerned after their performance yesterday, they're not moved, they're not shaken, but they do understand what happened yesterday. So it was quite surprising. According to them, they made a couple of mistakes, and that was really why they fell out of the grouping. I think originally we kind of thought it was just a grouping incompatibility. They just couldn't play their game.
I don't know about the mistakes, but it seems like they don't want to take the lead in the knockout stage. They don't want to show all their cards yet because they're preparing it for Point Rush as well as Grand Final. Yeah, and I think for the most part of it, even though it's small mistakes, it's only, still 60 amount of points is still pretty good. It still puts them in contention and definitely for position for top 12.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge on these teams. It looks like we are basically ready to go here for match number 1 between Groups A and C. Teams in Group B, they can only look on and watch and hope that they've earned enough in their previous matches. But I think we're ready to fly on over to the main stage. Survivors, let's head on over to game number 1.
What you cukup senang banget ada di Arab sini karena ini impian gue sebelumnya bareng tim gue juga. Season lalu kita cuma jadi penonton dan sekarang kita akhirnya bisa jadi pemain di sini.
รู้สึกดีครับตื่นเต้นก็เป็นความฝันเลยที่มาแข่งรายการใหญ่ๆ
por nunca ter desistido, porque eu jogo faz muito tempo já, e ter continuado tentando, mesmo fracassando, seguindo em frente, com regra na cabeça, valeu a pena ter chegado aqui.
Latihan mungkin ya, latihannya lebih keras lah ditambah, terus kayak saling percaya satu sama lain, saling nguatin lah satu sama lain. ยังมีครับยังไม่ได้ใช้แผนครับ
Tentang semua tim di sini ya pastinya jago-jago lah ya. Ibaratkan kayak ya ini udah masuk World Champion, pasti semua di sini yang terbaik lah. No Brasil já são tiros fortes lá, mas aqui é um nível completamente diferente. Cada erro, tipo, por mínimo que seja, puxa muito caro aqui.
รู้สึกว่าปลดล็อกอะไรหลายๆอย่างครับปลดล็อกหลายอย่างเลยสไตล์การเล่นเราด้วยวิธีฝ่ายทีม
A cada queda tentando jogar como se fosse a última e tentando o melhor resultado.
ที่เราได้บุย่ามาแล้วเจอกันต่อรอบชิงครับ
ก็ฝ่ายผมเข้ารอบชิงครับ
เชื่อในตัวผมครับเดี๋ยวผมพาชูด้วยครับ
Sampai bertemu di final nanti.
พวกเราจะเอาแชมป์กลับประเทศไทย
Welcome! It's time to get stage 3 of knockout stage is started. Group B wrapped it up yesterday, and what a show it was, huh? Asian teams are leading strong, but Brazil, Latin, and Mina are fighting really hard too. Today, it all ends, my friends. 12 teams will rise and move on to Point Rush on the road to the grand finals. Stay with us. Feel every second. This is where Free Fire history is made. And now, let's meet the teams who will take the stage today and fight to leave their mark on the Esports World Cup. First up is Vision Systems! Yes! Play! Red Hawks! Medic! United! Oh, Gamers Global! Movistar R7!
the Kitia Esports Arena is open. And now Free Fire squads have entered the battleground. Each one of them here are chasing glory. Each one are ready to survive the storm. But before we drop into the action, let's take a little trip into the wild. One of our brave reporters has been out in the field tracking rare creatures, the Free Fire pro play. This one you know. The rituals, the movements, the natural habitats. Let's go now into the wild. The world of EWC Deadless Hunters. Let's go.
Good day, mate. It's me here, Admats, the Play Hunter. We are now right here in Riyadh Boulevard, Ross City for Esports World Cup 2025. And I'm here to try to find out what does our pro player doing here in Boulevard. It seems that I'm lost. Can't seem to find anyone here. Could we find a pro player here to see what they're doing? Where are they? I still can't see them. I think the map's broken. Maybe here? Oh, crikey. Spots a few pro players walking. Not you. It looks like they are entering some sort of an arena. I think we should go. Let's go. Let's find out what are they doing. Mate, we are now right here in some sort of arena. It called itself as STC Gaming Arena, but I'm not so sure. And it looks like I have spotted a few pro players doing some sort of ritual. I do not dare to get close. Crikey, look at that. They are trying to get the luck from the previous team that has won before. Such an amazing behavior. Nothing like that have we been seeing. They're trying to pull all the luck here from the previous winner. Hey, oh my God, it looks like they are going away. Come, let's go. We have to it. Go. Crikey, that was so good. Hello, guys. Hello, map. Hello. It's a map for the play. I know. I player. Oh, you're a player? Yeah. Thank you. You're Robert. All right, we're going to catch up to a pro player. It looks like they have finished the vicinity. Oh, but it's not. Oh, crikey. They're angry. No, they're not. They're just doing their final bow for luck. And it looks like they are going somewhere else. Let's go. We'll go missing. Let's go. We're almost lost him. Let's go. Oh, sorry. Okay, it's fine. Oh, it looks like they added another one. Now there's 3. What a weird behavior. I think this is the continuous chanting for good luck. Mate, this is something I don't see every day. Oh, crikey, it looks like they have done their ritual. They went back into their habitat. And that it's all here at Boulevard EWC 2025. I'll see you guys later. Deja.
Welcome to the Free Fire and Esports World Cup 25 knockout stage, day number 3, where nothing is granted, everything is earned. You're here to start the show with me, Husky, and the Mustachio AJ. 6 more rounds between Group A and Group C, and until then, we'll find out which 12 teams will make it to Point Rush and eventually the grand finals.
Everything is earned, in some case stolen. That's exactly what we want to tune into today. Group B, unfortunately, they have laid their chances to rest. 12 games in total. They've pulled away whatever they can pull from the competition. Alpha 34, it doesn't take a genius to figure out they are definitely not going to be at Point Rush. But the question still is in the balance. Hot shots from Pakistan. Will they make it? 87 points. That's not too much, Husky.
That is not too much, but they ended yesterday in 7th spot.
Yeah.
That's a spot higher than what we wanted from them. We wanted them to just be in top 8, and they did, and they went one step above. And like you said, the question is, can they still survive today. We still need 5 more teams at least to not make it. Alpha 34, they did their best to drag Hotshot Esports down. And let's see if that has paid off.
Of course, there were some questions in the air. Will Fluxo make it? 106 points in total. Obviously, it's not the most up there at the top of the leaderboard. Fun fact, last year they got 102 points and they scraped through at the 12th spot. So it's a little bit better. But either way, it looks like they are going to be making it through. Of course, it's going to take a mountain of effort from any of the teams currently in the bottom 6 to oust Fluxo from their 4th spot. 106 points is quite tough to reach because if you look at Virtus Pro, down in the 13th place, they've only got 52 points. So quite a journey for them to climb up. And we got to also remember they're going up against the other teams from Group A and C. Obviously, they're going to be picking up those points as well. So it's not as straightforward every single game. These teams need to be in the final circle. Speaking of final circle, Red Hawks, if they want to stand a chance, they need to be in every single final circle with a minimum of 5 to 7 eliminations. And dude, that's tough, man. They only performed for 3 games on their first day of play.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how brutal this format is. You only get 2 play days in the knockout stage. Every single round that you kind of give away to your opponents, you need to make up for it twice as hard. And I think for Red Hawks, I agree with the calculation. We kind of went over the numbers behind the scenes, but I gotta add another caveat today. I think a booyah is necessary for Red Hawks, right? Just in case, just as insurance policy, as we head into game number 1. Again, the final 6 rounds before we find out which 2 teams will make it through. We're heading over to Bermuda once more, and for fans out there, you can rest assured that this flight path is very, very generous, straight down the middle.
Absolutely, and of course, it's going to be fair and easy. EVOS Esports, though, they're the group stage leaders with 154 points at the very top. Everybody thought it was going to be Core Memory sticking it at the very top, but of course, beating them with those 4 points. And Rasya definitely faced it with a huge smile on his face. A majority of the eliminations pulled away by the Wonder Kid. And this was that fair flight path that we were talking about. Peak totally conquered by Buriram alone, and Dragon splitting up very early in the game. I don't feel good about this.
You know what I don't feel good about as well, AJ? VP and Red Hawks. They both just dropped in the same spot, and we see very early gunfights, and this is gonna be very bad for Red Hawks if they don't make out of this alive. Ideally, if you can somehow beat VP, that would be great. We've seen Red Hawks pull off Miracle in the earlier rounds in day 1, but that's a day 1 thing, right? That's the thing, that's the unknown, but right now, I think VP have studied Red Hawks. They need to somehow make this work.
And of course, if the Bangladeshi players want to stand a chance here, they have to play the reversal here however possible. Plasma gun in the hands of Flicker. Shot up from up top. Great rotation by Fuwara. Has got the AUD in hand. Great range on the gun, and Flicker does not want to challenge it. But now all the players all together down on the ground. Fuwara with his head sticking out. This is danger zone, but he's managing the situation well.
With very limited resources to work with, these movements are a lot more important. So Red Hawks go into a 3-1 split. They leave Flicker on the flank. Same as the Virtus Pro, who have the same idea. So if whoever can catch the flanker first is going to come out on top. We see Diamond already going on the hunt. VP changing from 3-1 to a 2-2 split. Kutubu, big first contact. Good damage being dealt. Fuwara gets down by 3. And now Red Hawks spring into action. They even goes down. VP are losing numbers.
Beautifully played. The revival comes through in the nick of time by Diamond. And he's going to get sprayed down. What a save coming on through. X-Quality's there with the double vectors as well. Great way to fire. Damage not too much. But Red Hawks has got this in their pockets. 3 players taken out of the equation already. 1 more playing his chances up against 2. The M590 and the MP5. X-Quality. Riptide rhythm to break down their defenses, but that's just asking for trouble early.
Oh, okay. Shush.
And Red Hawks picking up a very, very, very important win here at the start of this game.
Feels like deja vu from game number 1. Blade drops back in just in time to loot the rewards, the bounty that the rest of his teammates have laid out on the floor alongside the corpses of the Virtus Pro players. And I gotta say, Ninja saved that fight because the rest of his teammates were down and Ninja clutched it. thankfully for VP, someone was revived. The run continues for the Polar Bears, but it's not going to get any easier. Same can be said for Vision System because loss has to be the process.
Yeah, Vision System needs a miracle to qualify for Point Rush today, but they go up against one of the most dangerous teams out there in Brazil, and I dare say in the competition. But they are mowing them down. Unbelievable stuff. Rigby 245. Final play in here. Ramon picked up right quickly. And Vision System could not go in for the final blow, but they still outnumber the players of Lost. Only for the next few seconds. Rigby has got enough money to buy back his two other team members. The Vision System, timing is key here. And the guy that just got picked up moved them down instantaneously. Lost with the instant recovery. F598 enough for you, boy. Rigby with the MP40 should be able to make quick work of Andres.
And suddenly, in the blink of an eye, Vision System Andres is forced to run away. He doesn't have enough points to get a revive. Ring around Rosie. Can he do it fast enough before they clear him out around the corner? And there's just not enough time. Vision System, they fall in the hands of Lost, and off-screen, Virtus Pro gets wiped out.
Man had enough time to buy back the whole world, but a misclick for sure. Not even a single revival, and Vision System out. They were already at the very bottom of the leaderboard. I guess that is exactly where they will stay. Unfortunate for them, but what a start, and holy hell, what a recovery from Lost.
Recovery from Lost and Red Hawks, right? Both teams were at the back foot in their respective 4v4s, and both of them recovered. This is the start we expected from Lost, but this is the start we wanted for Red Hawks.
Oh, yeah.
That difference, that contrast is what's going to make this a lot more interesting with how Red Hawks are rotating right now at Shipyard, but south of them, it's going to be Team Falcons and Movistar R7. That is going to be a challenge.
Ami Tomake Balobashi, Bangladesh. This
Hey, Bangladesh.
But here comes another deadly predator up in the air. Falcons, they want to fight. Question is, does Red Hawks have enough in their arsenal to shut them down? Dragons, on the other hand, up against putting up earlier on. And it looks like it was deadly snipes all around for Moshi, knocking down player after player after player, picking up those crucial points for Purila.
Thankfully, the Dragon Esports are still in this. I'm not really sure about the state of Red Hawks or Falcons. They are very aggressive. You're not ready. They're going to tear you apart into pieces. It's going to be the case for the side of Red Hawks. Quickest also goes down, and suddenly Red Hawks have been sliced in half. But Movistar R7, they hear the gunshots. They are here to fight the Falcons.
Well, Duke can play at that game, says Movistar R7. They want to be the movie stars here as well. One deadly predator out of the skies. Joker, BSK in hand. Great range for the gun, but fails to find any connection on those shots. They've got the players of Falcons flanked already. Peter, unfortunately for him, does not find any tags under the player up top. But here comes Swat, and he is the clutch king of R7. Well, he got the shot in Games King, M590 in hand. Unfortunately, it is their own player that gets knocked down to the ground, and Falcons standing their ground.
Cororo just now broke his ankles, but they brought him back up. You see the rotation from Della. Star player from yesterday, Joker finally pulls the trigger, and that's on fire now. James King actually got Peter as well. Two members of Falcons now, but they need the confirmation, and they get it. Cororo now hightails out of that. Hides behind the building. It's him and Limit and a lot of members of Movistar R7 that they need to surgically cut through, but this is not going to be easy.
Limit has got the right guns here, the VSK and the AWM in hand. Just needs the right opportunity, but he's also waiting for the rest of his team members to back away so that they can play the game of revival. He's buying the squad more time, and as he stays hidden, looks like Movistar R7 is not effective in this situation. Opportunity to get those snipes as the players are up in the air. Can Limit hit it?
They do see Limit now. Finally spotted out 1v1 Limit with a flick. That's 2 shots in a row. Of course, Limit is the one that wins that one now. The 3 points for Team Falcons, number 5. But that is going to call to attention the rest of Movistar R7 to kind of to come and tie up loose ends. Limit now, Movistar around the Games Kings. He's going to be player number 2 to make contact right around the corner. Limit fights it now on Joker, but it's just not enough. Movistar R7 finds that 4th point, but Team Falcons have bought enough time for Cororo to make a run.
There's a masterclass in distraction. There's a masterclass in buying your squad more time. But of course, Cororo, as he gets away, I believe he flew straight into the crosshairs of Red Hawks, so we'll have to wait and see if or not Falcons can stay alive a little bit longer. It looks like the jump pad has been invested in as Guerrero finds a good exit out of there. Flicker does not get that shot, and Falcons will live to tell the tale a little bit longer here. Time and time again, we've seen this out of Falcons, almost wiped out at the start of the game, and they just make that huge comeback with a booyah here.
And just to add on to that, that was exactly what happened on their very first game on day number 1 and the third game. So history could repeat itself. If you want to take out any sort of opponents, you got to cut off the head of the snake. In this case, the head of the Falcons. The Dragons will think that was able to punch into a wild creature who just got revived and now will have to be revived again.
Yes, man. Dragons off to a decent start here. First elimination, squad on that full revival. Thankfully, Seahawks was left standing and would bring the rest of the team members back in here. But RRQ, very stealthy, very quiet, picking up the most needed weapons. You see a double AWM setup in their hands here at Bermuda. It is going to be absolutely deadly, especially in the open grounds later on as this circle comes into a close, dragging all of the players towards the area of either Bima Sakti or Plum Tower in a bit.
And RQ is a team that even they have taken an interview. Always second, never first. In this case, for the side of AGAL, they also have tasted that. But R7, they're fighting back. 2 down the side of AGAL. You not wanting to let this go. There's a lot of memories, past memories on the international stage, and this is going to be one that he refuses to leave in regret. The rest of AGAL gets back up. Movistar R7 is forced to run.
Oh, what a damn backup that was, due with the instantaneous shot as he whipped out that AC-80. But now, Chinoy on the chase here. AC-80 in his hands. That Oscar, the Valiant Dash was just used. Doesn't really have an option for a last-ditch effort for the defense, but thankfully, AGL does not want to stand by and play around with him. Hanks has an opportunity to go for a revival, but the man's absolutely broke now.
Not just broke, he also does not have any medkits to work with. The Blue is going to be the one that takes him out if this continues, so he's desperate to find any sort of resource, any sort of coins. It's going to be a race against time. As long as they actually picked up a member from Team Falcons earlier on. Falcons now down to 2. Enough points inside of one fire. Peter gets brought back once more. Falcons still trying to recover.
Yeah, on the back foot here for Falcons. But, it really matters not. Lost and Falcons both at the very top of the leaderboard. I think they can sleep the whole day and still qualify for Point Rush here. So this is just a warm-up game at the end of the day. Was phenomenal performance on their day 1. On fire, take it away. Another 9 are from afar. Accurate shots, not wasting those splits at all.
So Peter is actually in the middle of the circle. Falcons basically forced into just pure survival mode. It's no longer about fighting for points. It's about fighting to live long enough. But you surely see this, right? Guerrero now has to fight Valiant Dash being used. Barros had to ruin that 1v1.
Aye, what was that? Valiant Dash did not find the connection with the glue walls, tried to use him like a Tatsuya, put himself in danger by getting his back onto his opponent. Easy knockdown. AGAL, though, in shooting distance. Guerrero's going to be in a lot of trouble. Has the M590. He can break down the glue wall, but Ray is going to be keeping AGAL a tad bit distracted here. And you take that high ground position. He wants to flank around with those snipes. Question is, can the rest of them squeeze themselves in? Because this circle is starting to hurt.
Double repetitive being used early on. Barros trying to provide support fire alongside you. As Moto Via slowly falls behind, but unfortunately for the rest of Pain, it might have to force a contact. As Peter gets dropped down into incredibly low zone up as well. They do manage to heal back up, but still not finding any opening against AGAL. Barros now jumps into time turner. Cypher actually loses this fight, and now these, but no one does it better than Noda. AGAL ends up losing 2, and now Peter trying to fight. Taste that, Chinoy. 3 down for AGAL, and Pain survives.
And AGAL, one final survivor here, potentially straight into the hands of Dragons. R7 Della taken out of the equation. All thanks to Peter. And Movistar R7 out of the race in the 10th spot. Spain makes their way up towards that high ground. Dragons remaining silent. not wanting to play a little bit of a misstep here. Either way, when they play that rotation, they have to come across either fade or put it up, and that's going to be most definitely painful for the Dragons.
I just gotta say, the Red Hawks are single-handedly contributing to the revival stats in the game. They have so much revive, but it's good for them, right? Still in the game, but the window is definitely closing as we now turn our attention to Dragons Esports finally making their way towards where the war zone is. Pain Gaming and Laws now fighting are also part of this conversation. Just getting knocked onto Rigby, but Rescue will be here. Rigby should be fine.
Playing with the elevation, smartly done here by Loss. And the recovery is going to be instantaneous as well. They do tank a little bit of damage from the blue. That's not going to be too much, but they cannot shrug off. Problem is going to be still Peter here, looking for the gatekeep. And I do agree with you, man. Red Hawks, what a performance on the revival so far. We have asked for them to get into that final cycle. That's exactly what they asked for. Now get high, going rampage with the grenade launcher. M79 in hand, taking away one life. Adam down as well. Nejal has got the big guns in hand. Grenade launcher in the hands of Red Hawks is going to give them a huge advantage here.
Well, did lose Slinger thanks to RRQ, who decided to join in as party number 4. The BRU are the biggest winners out of this all. Most players can't even get to them where they are. Get high somehow, getting Blade. As Loki wants to steal it, but could not do so. Blade falls. Red Hawks down to just 2. And Onyx will have to find a way out of this because Buriram have guarded all the main entrance.
And Dragon finding Nejal as well. Unfortunate for Red Hawks. But Pain Gaming makes the exit first. In the 8th spot, Red Hawks with your final survivor left in here looking for the next zone and has found it already. Question is still going to be, does Kadush have enough? Because you get revived with those 2 blue walls and the P90. I believe that's all he has. Riptide Raider breaking down the defenses of Peter and the backstab. Loss is still in it as Falcons will falter in 7.
Good shot from Al to stop Holiday. And now Loss have to make a decision. Do you abandon him or do you bring him out? There's no saving Pride Holiday in this game. Al takes him out. Red Hawks eliminated in 6th place. RRQ finally showing their presence. Rigby has all his blue up being melted. RRQ just sprays them down. Case led in this. And Nando and I cannot survive. Unfortunately for Loss, this is where it ends.
Yep, they lost that one up against the Indonesians who were desperate for a booyah for themselves. But the surprising ones are the team from EMEA. Dragons Esports, 7 eliminations strong, looking for that final circle in the top 3. This is what we need. This is the kind of improvement we wanted out of Red Hawks, but they'll have to wait for the rest of the game from the day. For the time being, it's the silence play, and Dragons will find the circle, but they also find Buriram running out there.
And Buriram will take initiative. Actually, a decent trade at the very start, but Dragons quickly overwhelmed as Deuce decides that he also wants a piece of the pie. Maybe RRQ's intervention will be enough for the Indonesians to start the day out with Booyah. Kiba ends up going down, get high, still around, but it's him and Moshi. Can they pull this off? A 2v3, Moshi in the red and get high, desperately trying to hang on. They just cannot pull it off. A 5 brings RRQ to a Booyah in game 1.
RRQ with their very first booyah here at EWC 25. And you cannot ask for anything better. They start the day off from the 12th spot. And obviously, they're going to be getting those points. One of the best Indonesian squads. Some may argue the best, of course. They could not get to the championship this time on FFWSC because Onyx snuffed that one away. But they're most definitely going to hit the big numbers here.
Some people forget that RRQ placed 2nd in the recent championship. And that's why they always say, why are they always 2nd? Why never 1st, right? You look back at the track record of RRQ, they are always in the top spot, but when it matters the most, RRQ falls short. This is a story of redemption. A team that built a legacy, that set the benchmark for the Indonesian region, now have bred new blood that overtook them locally, but they also kind of missed the feeling that when they were still at the top.
Yeah, the 2nd spot is also infecting their brothers from Indonesia. We saw EVOS Esports last year at EWC 24. They did so well, but of course Falcons beat them to the championship. They walked away to the 2nd spot. That was very impressive, and they have not dropped their momentum at all. They've kept that going, and now with the acquisition of the Wonder Kid, they look absolutely dangerous. They ended yesterday at the very top of the leaderboard, and now they are the squad to beat. But of course, we're going to be taking a quick short break here. When we come back, it's going to be Dragon 2 time, baby.
lihat nih. Gua pasang gluon, gua lempar bom, terus musuhnya rata. Gimana tuh? Lu udah nunjukin ini ke kita 7 kali. Tapi setiap gua tunjukin ini keren kan? Kurang. Nggak usah. Gua cariin. Apa? Tinggal aja. Gorong. Ini dorong nih. Masih tiga gitu. Air. Makin baik. Di gua nih. Taruh tuh. Di gua. Masih di gua. Tahan. Main dia, main gua. Taruh. Santai guys. Aduh.
IRQ may have started a little bit slow here at EWC 25. They kicked things off with day 3 with their very first booyah on Bermuda. And Indonesian fans, I can imagine they are cheering for them at home, in the chat, anywhere that they are, because RRQ, maybe today's the day that they finally come back, because to be honest, they were very, very quiet for their first play day. Gideon, I'm going to have to start with you here. What was the major factor that actually brought RRQ back into EWC?
I think for one, I'm pretty sure that the audience in the arena itself, if you've ever heard of it, RRQ, no matter where they are, it's always home soil, it's always home ground. The kingdom always provides for them, especially with the fans. But in terms of the in-game, we've seen two sides of an interesting story, right? The proactivity within the game. When we're looking at the match rankings, right? Notice how majorities of these teams aren't reaching into the double digits because fights are not only concluding extremely quick, but only very few squads, like Dragons, are able to actually recover from the initial first impacts, and then all teams, majority of them playing on the outside, unless you're BRU or RRQ, who took their time to show presence later in the game.
And now looking at the rankings, I'm surprised as well that Lost is in there, because earlier, when they went against Vision System, they were almost out. Only 2 remained, and then as quickly as that, just wiped out Vision System, and they are back in play, taking that number 4 spot.
I mean, there wasn't even a good idea from Vision because, they are kind of struggling in the tournament. So they can, try to fight against like one of the favorites to win the title, So it was not like a good idea at all. So I think it's better for them if they avoid this type of fights,
Yeah, high risk, but high reward, right? Sometimes you kind of have to take those risks if you want to keep your spot here at EWC 25. But it's pretty interesting that already, right off the bat, we're seeing a very, very quick pace, right? The first 2 days, I kind of feel like the teams, they were kind of going fast as well, but it wasn't to the degree where everyone was kind of waiting for that third circle to make their move. It was from the get-go, you see people, you smell that blood, they're in your sights.
It's extremely evident when we do see Falcons taking the initiative to go, again, proactively looking outside of the ring to fight a squad. They end up winning the fight, especially against Dragons. And then, Redhawks, and all of a sudden R7 decides to get involved in these fights, right? And this was happening all across the map, from north side to the southern side. And once we get to that third ring, I think that's when people started to realize, oh boy, this is going to be a pretty deadly match. A majority of people have lost a couple of fingers walking into the ring.
Speaking of deadly, you did mention it's always back-to-back engagement all throughout that map, but towards the 12-minute mark, we still have 10 teams remaining, and we seldom see that in competition here. Probably in the regional, yes, it is possible, but it starts slow. But this didn't start slow. It's just from the drop, they're always engaging, and quite surprising why there's still a lot of teams left.
Well, and I want to add about the fight of Falcons against R7. That it's really interesting to see like R7 performing that way because they are not afraid to be like face to face with other Asian teams. So that's kind of interesting because Game Scheme was like shooting at Falcons A, and he was like doing such a great job,
Yeah.
I do agree. I mean, GameSkin is one of the player that is really doing so much. Thus, all of the top damage that has been dealt right here being shown. And I would love to see a lot more from them, but look at the balance in terms of Buriram United damage and elimination. It means that what they're reaping, they're sowing.
I disagree. They're doing too much damage. They're not getting enough eliminations. They're pumping out twice the amount of damage we're seeing the other teams are doing. And teams like Dragons, for example, which I am extremely impressed by, I thought it was almost done for them. They managed to recover, they managed to re-equip, and they also managed to get into what, in this case, the final circle, which is only the 6th ring.
Okay, I want to play with the idea because we saw Buriram having one of the highest eliminations and damage. What if they're struggling to get those eliminations? Like, they're the ones starting the fights, but everyone else is coming in, they're vulturing, they're stealing away those kills. Like, they can't play the game that they want to play. Like, is this maybe a warning sign that Buriram, though they might be feeling pretty confident coming into their second play day, maybe things are just not panning out for them yet?
I refuse to believe it. I think they're just that good.
Yeah, I mean, we know for a fact Buriram United doesn't start their fight towards the 15-minute mark or close to that. And at that point, they had no choice. So they put in so much of damage, so put in a few elimination, even if they don't finish them up.
Right. It looks like we are ready to fly into Purgatory Survivors. So let's fly into match number 2 with Hatsuki and AJ.
Purgatory time, baby! And it was a phenomenal booyah from Indonesia, courtesy of RRQ. But of course, seeing EMEA up at the top, seeing the Dragons breathe fire, that's exactly what we want to see out of the squads who are struggling to get into the top 12. But even if they do break into the top 12 right after this, the story would not be over just yet, because down in the bottom 6, all the teams at this point in time are from Group A and C who are in play mix. Keep this performance up game after game, Husky.
And I think this really puts into perspective how teams like Virtus Pro, for example, right, has had a very, very weird knockout stage experience so far. They have the highest highs, but they also have the lowest lows. I guess you could compare them to Fluxo. The only difference being that at least Fluxo has a more even average throughout until the end of the last 3 rounds of yesterday. Another generous flight path, you know, we've been a lot more kinder to these two groups in Purgatory, right down the middle once more towards the northeastern side. And Virtus Pro, at least this time, gets to head to Moathouse.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, they're not going to be disturbed on the OB49.
Itself, in fact, almost full prime. And also, you look at the radar, Falcons.
Yeah.
Day one, when they did a split, it was a 3-1, 3-5 brigade, won the lumber mill. Now today, they dropped all 4 and 5 brigade before splitting up to lumber mill. They understood that RRQ, they also shared an island.
Absolutely, just kind of playing it safe. Just in case RRQ decides to go a little bit crazy, perhaps drop slightly closer towards 5 brigade. But thankfully, none of that happened. And both the squads still alive and kicking, free to loot up as much as they want. Got a little bit of a airdrop here to keep on pick up those medkits and blue balls from as well. But of course, the great big question is going to be, do we see Buriram buck into R7? Movistar R7 dangerously close to Battleworks.
Yeah. It's a good time to also talk about Kiba's history. Previously with Onyx, it was a big part of Onyx. In fact, last year he attended EWC for Free Fire 24 with that squad, and they had a very underwhelming performance. And right now they're on the other side of the aisle. And in fact, even yesterday, Onyx tried to mess up RQ's momentum for Booyah, and they ended up, it was a Movistar R7 that pulled through. You get a ping with the Arvon that could be courtesy of BRU as they are heading towards Crossroad, but they will run into Movistar R7.
Yep, now Buriram trying their best to get away here. Movistar R7 definitely in shooting range. This is the first player to be found. This is not good for business. Jonah also finding the tags onto Adam, gets the elimination as well. Fighting 2 squads at the same time. Not the best idea here, but Buriram has no choice. Hax runs on in, finds the sniper of Buriram. The rest of them leave him high and dry. They're looking for a safer spot to play. Games King, final survivor, double blue wall, looking for the pickup.
Unfortunately, he had Oshi before anything else. But the backup of BRU was just too fast. So R7 ends up getting nothing. They might lose Joker. Thankfully, he's able to launch himself away in time. BRU saving Moshi, and they keep the run going. But it bought enough time for Onyx to move away, but that also might just funnel them straight into Virtus Pro.
Great recovery from both Movistar R7 as well as Buriram. Games King going for the pickup instead of finishing off Moshi. And Buriram looking at that opportunity, went back in there for the instant pickup just so that they don't have to be on the reset. Moshi gets to keep all of his loot and coins. So neither one of their progress disrupted all that too much. Of course, Movistar losing 2 players to the side of Buriram wasn't all that too fun. And like you said, Onyx playing that recovery. The now Workers Pro finding pace. Will they get taken down early once again? Riptide Rhythm going far and wide, unfortunately, for X-Poly.
He's holding his ground very well. He's taking down the glue walls of pain to discourage them. But his glue wall just now prevented Peter from getting a potential shot in. This could be a big flank. Bunjim and Nameless, they have the right idea. Are they going to run into pain? No, Glue's exposed. He was not ready for that. The glue wall getting popped out. He had to isolate his hands, but it's instantly broken down. Peter ends up taking diamonds somehow. And now VP forced into a bit of a defense mode. Glue wall of Meltons all drop down. VP pushes them forward.
Yeah, fantastic grenade bomb here. And straight through the glue walls. Finds Gus to the M590. Looking for Peter as well. Glue wall broken down once again. Peter, no cover for him whatsoever. Bunjim left all alone. M590 for the win, but Virtus Pro unable to undo the pain Esports delivered.
And that one is going to hurt. 2 rounds in a row, Virtus Pro got virtually nothing. They're going to end this round with 55 points. And that is still quite far away from a qualification into point where they will have to talk about this. They saw Fora out for Bunjim and nothing changed. Onyx now gets a rematch against BRU right here at the Arsenal. But BRU, they do have someone positioned inside the compound. It's going to be Jonah, and Adam sees this. But what is Onyx going to do?
Moshi on the flank, looking for Crime. AC-80 in the hands of Crime. Just needs that double shot. Perfectly aimed at Moshi's head to instantly cripple the flanking capability of Buriram. And both teams playing this absolutely safe. Buriram finally going in for the call on that rush, but the glue wall stops their own defense for the side of Onyx, and they have to retreat. Grenade popped out, M79 in play. The grenade finds the tag, and Wasana does not manage to recover. Buriram with only Moshi left in the mix here. Pickup just not possible. And man has to run for his life.
Very, very decisive call from Onyx, and that is going to pay off big time, wiping the floor with BRU. And this is where I gotta stake my allegiance. I'm gonna state my allegiance.
Yeah.
I agree with what the panelists said just now. I agree with Gideon. I think, BRU, we all collectively have unanimously said that this is the only team that every single time they don't show up in a round, we said that they're saving stress. But I disagree. I think at this point it's fair to say that BRU teams are catching up to them, right?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I think Buriram, at this point of time, it's not that it's yes, the other teams are catching up, but also the meta has been messing with Buriram for a long, long time. Wasana used to be known as the deadliest hard hitter out there. First, we took his Drogon away, then we took his Tatsuya away. How much more will we torture this boy, Wasana?
I don't know. Brazil has won 2 years in a row. It's about time we get something back, right? They were the reason, I hope they were the reason Skylar got back into the meta, and now Hopeless is buffed. Intel Gatherers have all been buffed.
Yeah.
You see Falcons up against RQ. Abe actually took a shot in the face. As we take a look at a bit of a highlight, some good engages earlier on, but we're going to keep our attention on what matters for Falcons actually taking down members of RQ.
Yep, finding the first one, but RRQ has got decent enough distance between themselves as well as Falcon to hightail it out of here. Got to fight up against the blue, though. Tanking damage from the second circle isn't going to hurt that too much, so RRQ not really played big risk gameplay here. Just needs to go for that long rotation round. Unfortunately, R7 might just bump into them, so we'll have to catch up with that action in a little bit. Aone on the bike, making a lot of noise, but thankfully nobody around them to find the Punisher with the snipes.
Funny enough, there is a UAV hovering on top of them, and we saw a loot drop as well, an airdrop. They are going to be right smack in the middle of 2 teams. Dragon Esports, Vision Systems, well, make that 3 teams with AG, AL are around the corner. That is a big shot for the AWM. Zyro making his presence known. Pain Gaming in the far horizon, but I think Onyx are also in a very safe spot. If they go down southwards to get to the circle, they are going to eventually run into Pain Gaming, with the exception that I think Pain Gaming, they do have a bit of elevation to work with.
Consistency out of Brazil has been phenomenal thus far. Pain Gaming just one of those top performers, one Booyah in the bag, and they don't look like they're about to slow down. 87 points in total in their pockets. And they have got literally 5 more games to pick up points, and they don't look like one of those stragglers, right? Game after game, you see them hitting those high numbers on eliminations, whether or not they find that final circle.
It's been a field medic this game for RRQ. 4 revives, counting. So RRQ, they, even though have the full squad still in the game, they have been getting picked off left, right, and center. So Pain Gaming makes that rotation. Onyx most likely will end up dodging them and having elevation once they get to where Pain Gaming are. There is a choice that Pain Gaming could make, right? Take the zip line down to the next location, close to a vending machine, but far away enough from the rest of the team.
This next circle is going to be crucial. Teams all spread out on the map. It's been moving west side thus far. And usually the game does throw us off a tad bit. But a high potential of moving just towards the outskirts of Brasilia here. Pain Gaming has to deal with Onyx, whether they like it or not. Just on the outskirts of Brasilia, the circle finds AGAL as well as Dragon. Vision system in there as well, but I don't know what kind of miracle they can pull off here. They just don't have enough points in the back.
They could play spoilers, right? Like what Alpha 34 did yesterday. The early encounter between RRQ and Lost, where we saw on the feed itself, Lost getting 2 pickoffs in a row. How they dealing some critical damage to RRQ at the stage of the game. Again, they got full revive, but at this point we are more than 10 minutes in. Falcons now arrive, and Shiba, he's not even ready for this. You realize that 3 people shot back and behind him. Big backstab and a 3-point.
Yeah, poor boy just got revived, had the P90 in hand, just 2 glue walls, refused to use it. Could have used it. But now Red Hawks. Bangladesh, can you go up against one of the most lethal Brazilian squads out there? Glue wall members all laid out, but Flicker, the flank is not working. Riptide Rhythm breaks down absolutely nothing is lost. Pulls the long flank around the right hand side, down towards the lower ground. Red Hawks pulling a very quick trick here as they fake a lower ground rotation, but they stay up towards the top. Lost not falling for that.
Jig is up though. Oh, they see Flicker. He knows what Flicker wants to do. So starts it off with Glue Wall Melter. Take out that cover to force Flicker deeper into the battle. They want Red Hawks to fight honest, not dirty from long range. And that's where Lost thrives the most. Rigby, Raja mentioned multiple times, top 3 rusher of Brazil. If they can funnel Red Hawks into the gun barrels of Rigby, it's really beneficial for Lost. Nando Knight got a top ground cover and Lost in an advantageous spot.
Yeah, good dude. Fingers crossed he's got that super medic in his hands. Nando 9 taken out of the equation. Great play by Blade. But now here comes the reversal as well. As quite good dude. Blade down on the ground as well. Revenge is sweet and pretty instant. And Red Hawks will falter in the hands of Lost.
Lost came in prepared. That was exactly what they wanted to achieve. In the meantime, even off screen, we see just got knocked by Vision System. Lost did have to pay a bit of price for that. One member being eliminated on the equation, but small price to pay. Peter getting literally ran down and charged right through. On fire now, tries to redeem it. Joker actually getting tagged from behind. Limit finding Della as Movie Star R7 takes the Rapid Falcon.
Yeah, without Della, question is how can they play this game of survival? Game stick back in a way, lay down, and Hack has no choice, and a double snipe by Limit will put them in the bag. On fire in the support gameplay as well. AGAL making their approach here. And Falcons need to play the scaffold. Do they play the circle or do they go hunting for the players of AGAL? Either way, RRQ lies awaiting them inside the next circle.
And Falcons with that wipeout freeze up their rotational path. And now they're going to kind of fast track that. Instantly punish. Andres is the one that spoils the party. And Abai, just stay still, my little boy. Do not make a move. Wow. Because Vision System are making their presence known. Falcons distracted. Andres once more with a second collection. Deal steals that away. But Kororo too late to realize that they made a great mistake. Abai just needs to wait.
I said Vision System needs a miracle. You said Vision System needs to play. Spoilers, they are doing both. 7 eliminations strong. Vision System needs to avoid that circle. They'll fight straight into its Dragons Esports. We need to catch up with Dragons in a little bit because they are getting a tad bit more comfortable here. Lost on the other hand. They don't have the numbers. And RRQ surprisingly out in 8.
Oh, that was very funny. Kuroro turned around, did a 360 and saw him and just blew him up. Another fight Vision System now against Lost. Rigby actually getting gunned down. This is not panning out the way that Lost 1 to 10 elimination. The blue wall goes down. Vision System showing up late, but not too late. Lost is out.
I don't know if it is not too late, but it looks like they are wrecking the opportunity for the big squads here. Dragons now looking for Vision System. And they had the vision to strike early, but the solid blue walls erected to trap them in the container. They back away. Vision System, though, tossing in those grenades is going to be crucial at this point. Dragons won't pull up their own blue wall to avoid the damage.
This is going to be a heck of a confrontation. I don't think we've seen these two teams duke it up 4v4 until this point. Obviously, Vision System have more eliminations, and for Dragons, they need to start catching up. A bit of chip damage being down. Dota actually moving forward, trying to progress. But for Dragon Esports, those blue walls, they're going to melt in an instant. The bombardment commences. Jinx once more gets a good snipe, and Dragon Esports trapped in their own building as Vision System cleans up house. There's an extra 4 points on the docket. 13 for BSC.
What a miracle, Vision System! And now full recovery for them. Jinx has got the Superman on him. Backs away, but AGL knows exactly what's up. Tossing in all of those blue wall melted, making sure those defenses do not stand erected for long. And you, with the snipe from afar, he's not the guy who gets the connection. It is Ginoy, by far the combo. Absolutely deadly. And they want more. Flirting with the blue, and Jinx makes the wrong decision. But either way, there's no running. AGAL puts an end to it and pulls the Booyah in the bag.
AGL needed a win. Sooner or later, this was also a team that have gone through trials and tribulation on the international stage. A few years ago, Dio was at the height of his career, finishing, I believe, top 4 in FMWF 2022 in Bangkok, Thailand. And ever since then, he has not been able to return to that prime form, whether it's an individual struggle or a team synergy problem. AGL right now is his best chance, and with this Booyah, they are going to remind everyone that they have been contenders all along.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, what a great play from the teams that desperately needed the points, right? 3 out of 4 teams in that final circle are currently sitting in the bottom 6, and Vision System with a stand-up performance. Unbelievable stuff. We have never seen them in that mode. I guess desperation sometimes brings the best out of you.
Not only that, when we finished match number 1, I believe the coach of Vision System, they gathered everyone around and gave them a pep talk. Maybe that was the boost that Vision System needed to get close to the top 3. A Booyah would have been great, but this second place finish is good enough for now.
Absolutely. We've got an interview on the stage for you guys as well. Aski and I will be right back with you.
Wow, what amazing matches we have watched so far, and for sure, today is a day for us to never forget. The last day of the knockout stage. And of course, we have to take a word with the first Booyah, the first team that got a Booyah here today, which was RRQ from Indonesia. And I have here with me Abai. This guy here doesn't need an introduction because you all know him. Okay, so the first match was incredible for you guys. You got a Booyah, and you all wiped 2 big teams, Los and Buriram, who are also leading the standings, in the top of the standings. And I would like to know, how are you guys feeling right now?
Oke, tentunya di sini kalian berhasil mendapatkan Booyah di map pertama, dan juga kalian berhasil nge-wipe 2 tim yang teratas nih Pak di saat ini gitu. Dari Lux dan juga Buriram. Bagaimana perasaan kalian saat ini?
Senang.
I'm just happy.
You gotta say more about it, please.
Senang.
Yeah, I think I'm just happy. I don't know how to express it better.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, so I have already said today is the final day for knockout stage. What was the main strategy for the teams? What was your mindset going before I start the day? What do you guys have? What talk do you guys have back home to start the day?
Oke, tentunya di sini juga merupakan hari terakhir dari knockout stage. Kita pengen tahu gimana apa sih rencana atau strategi kalian di hari ini dan juga apa sih yang kalian bicarakan tentunya sebelum bermain di hari ini.
Dari poin kemarin kita ya saling menguatkan aja. Terus hari ini mungkin kita cari poin kill sebaik-baiknya sih.
I think what we learned from yesterday is that we just need to communicate better and we just need to talk about what we want to do better. And for today, we just want to get as much skill as possible.
That's probably really good. For us to finish the interview, I would like to just have one more question. Is there any specific team that you would not like to advance for the next stage for the grand finals?
Apakah ada tim yang kalian gak pengen untuk bisa lanjut ke babak selanjutnya?
Bruxelles.
Okay, well said. We have heard enough from Abai. Thanks so much for the interview. We wish you all the best of luck for the next matches. And we will see if you guys can make to the finals. And that's all. Right now, we are going to go for a quick break, but don't wait up because we are going to have way more action right here in the Esports World Cup with Free Fire. Triple kill. Dominate. Unstoppable.
Hello everyone, it's Yunso. Welcome to the Boulevard, and I'm right here at a haunted house. We have a storyline here, the Zealand story, which is for this house, and I'm going to explore the opening for you guys here. Well, the atmosphere is very scary. You see pictures here. What is those sounds? Okay, pictures, dark pictures, very scary. I don't know what is await me there, but I feel so scared and anxious. Oh, that is a dead body. What? So many dead bodies here. Cố tôi là nạn nhân. Hello? Anybody here? Hello? Hi? Okay. I don't know if I'm gonna come back or not, but I'm going to explore the rest for you guys. And, okay, goodbye.
Some rush in instinctively. Others run the chaos.
What a phenomenal reposition, but with the launch pad straight out the circle, they get it back on that circle first, and now putting out fires all to Abe.
This is Wasana.
สำหรับตัวผมนะบทพิสูจน์บทท้าทายก็น่าจะเป็นเรื่องของการเริ่มเข้ามาแข่งใหม่มากกว่าครับ
Orira United! They just don't win, they dominate. The Kings of Fuya are back.
เริ่มมาแข่งแรกๆก็มันแบบเราจะเจอทีมที่เก่งกว่าเยอะช่วงนั้นก็อาจจะแบบว่าคิดว่ามีคนที่เก่งกว่าเราเยอะมากเลยอะไรประมาณนี้แต่ก็พัฒนาตัวเองมาถึงจุดนี้ได้ครับ
In Buriram, he's part tactician, part stormbringer, trusted by Gehai, Moshi, Yoena.
อยากแบบเป็นผู้เล่นที่แบบแข่งกันนานๆเลยครับตอนแบบว่าตั้งแต่ตอนเข้ามาแรกๆเลยครับเพราะทุกคนมันเป็นคนที่แบบประสบความสำเร็จมาแล้วมีประสบการณ์มีอะไรแบบผมเข้ามาทีมนี้ครั้งแรกก็ไม่ได้มีอะไรเป็นแชมป์หรืออะไรเลยครับแต่พอเข้ามาทีมนี้ก็พี่เขาได้สอนหลายอย่างให้
To this team, Buriram United is going super aggressive right now, very, very explosive.
A rusher with a plan, a warrior who thinks. This is Wasana, Buriram's quiet strategist.
ก็พวกผมก็จะทำให้เต็มที่ที่สุดครับพวกผมหวังแชมป์มาอยู่แล้วครับแต่ก็จะทำให้เต็มที่ที่สุดแล้วก็เอาแชมป์มาฝากทุกคนให้ได้
The blue group closing in, there's no getting any more here. Wasana typing that love another. Yeah!
คือมันวัดกันในหน้าเกมอย่างเดียวเลยว่าแบบว่าใครจะแบบเหนือกว่าก็คือแบบจะได้มาแข่งถึงทุกวันนี้ครับ
The
ไปชิดดิโห
kiểu ê bà bây giờ
มาไปชิดร้อยหนึ่งชิดไม่ได้
มาไม่ได้ผมพี่ฟ้าร้อยหนึ่งชิดร้อยหนึ่งชิดเลยเอ้กูหน่อยช่วยกูหน่อยเดี๋ยวทำกระบาดเสียทำกระบาดกูยาไปฟ้าเดี๋ยวไปฟ้าอยู่นะกี่ปีนะตัวเดียวแถมไม่เหี้ยอย่าติดไปเลยเหี้ยฟ้าเดี๋ยวคิวดาวเป็นพันสี่
AGAL lock in our second booyah of the day, and things are really starting to heat up because the bottom of the bracket are hungry. We have gotten booyahs from teams that are currently sitting outside of that threshold of top 12, and they know they need those points. So all of a sudden, we're getting a very interesting match day where it's not a battle between the Titans at the top. It's a battle of all of the Davids at the bottom.
And this is one thing that we keep saying, and I think I mentioned it from the start of our competition, that treat your every day as if it is the last day, as if you are being eliminated. And I guess that's what's happening right now. Like high risk, high reward, and this is one thing that those in the bottom six are doing right now. And if in case they miss, then I guess they could accept already the fact that they might be eliminated.
Well, we also can still keep looking at Falcons, like doing great eliminations. But something that I want to add, it's that Burita, it's not really doing that good. I think they are not kind of prepared about like early fights, you know. They know how to do rotations and this type of things, but I feel that they weren't prepared at all to meet Onyx at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we really haven't seen, aside from that first booyah that they got yesterday, they haven't really been a major player in the competition. But again, I mean, we spoke about this, right? It almost feels like Buriram, they're just slowly trying to peel off that target from their back. They're saying, okay, this target belongs to someone else. We are not a threat to anybody. We are harmless. Please leave us alone when we get through the final stage. But Buriram fans, I don't think I'd be concerned either because, I mean, Neptune, I mean, you have the numbers in front of you. Buriram are kind of safe, right? I don't think they are at any risk of falling out of top 12.
Yeah, they are safe and they have potential to be able to bring that number. So I think it's just a play not to be in a spotlight of the players and the teams that will be going into Point Rush and Grand Finals. But I also want to put a spotlight in certain teams like AGAL as well as Vision System. They were at the bottom of our leaderboard and they were at the top as well as the second place in that game. But we also see Dragon Esports survivability at its finest. This is one thing that we want to see from those of the underdogs, and I guess they're working in for the placements before they go for elimination because it was slow in terms of elimination, but they managed to survive a little bit longer.
I'm so glad you brought up Dragons because they have actually been quite consistent today. Although we've only played 2 games, they were the third last team to be eliminated in our first 2 games. So Dragons, I mean, it seems that they keep this up, they have a very good chance of making it to the next stage. But I do want to sort of make a bit of a statement, right? The fact that all the points now are going to the team towards the bottom of the bracket, this actually destabilizes the bottom section of the top 12 because the points are not going to the top because the teams that are in top 12, let's say 12 until 9, you want the points to go to the very top because that means the points are not going towards the bottom teams, but that is not happening. It's the opposite. All the bottom teams are getting it. So now all of a sudden, teams at the bottom are getting scared. So what do you end up doing here as a team that is potentially going to get knocked out of that top 12? Do you now suddenly have to be the ones to make the proactive plays because you can't afford to play passive anymore?
Well, it depends on your play style, but most of the teams, they just have to lay low, go for survivability first. They go for the placement first, and then along the way, if they can get elimination, then that's where they stack up the numbers. Because if you risk so much in terms of fighting against a team, getting a lot of elimination, we've seen that a lot happening, and it is just disappointing if you lose a fight.
It would be. Now, Now, here are the overall rankings, ladies and gentlemen, the updated overall rankings. So, we're still quite early in the day. Now, of course, we are still seeing a lot of teams from Group B very high up on that leaderboard. But as we continue to play and more points are distributed between Groups A and C, we will start to see a more finalized list of our top 12. Now, Neptune, I know you're the man of numbers. I love to ask you this kind of stuff, okay? Who is looking safe here? We said yesterday that there was a safe threshold, which was, I think, 130 points, wasn't it? So just looking at the leaderboard now, who do you feel is looking pretty safe? Like, where do you think is the safe cross line?
So I guess at this point, for the moment, it is Pain Gaming spot because currently, like, they are 100 points already, and I don't think they will be short of the 30 by the remaining 4 matches. So there's still a lot more that they can do. So hopefully they will be able to chase that number.
All right, we are getting ready for our next matchup, folks. But before that, though, we do have our SMB head-to-head with Gideon. Let's head on over to the main stage. What's up, Gideon?
Hello everyone and welcome to the SNB head-to-head here at the Free Fire EWC World Cup Arena. And this is exciting because with us right now, we have the Falcons fans loud and proud over on that side. We have the teams rallying for each other, but we have to do our jobs. Right now, I am glazing DRG. They're doing incredible. It is halfway, or almost halfway through day number 1 right now, and they are just ruining so many hopes and dreams of so many big teams.
I mean, you say ruining the hopes and dreams if we're talking about a team who came all the way to Riyadh. Can we give it up for some of the Red Hawk fans? Give it up for them. They flew all the way in to show some support wherever you're from. If you're from Bangladesh, give them your energy today because this is the most important round. They're going to be looking to get as many points as possible, and based on what we've seen, slow start, but they can do even better. And with these fans in the arena, they can only do the best. Let's throw it off to our casters. It's map number 3. We're going to catch you right after this.
Map numero 3. It's time to head into map number 3. Here we go. Dragons Esports Red Hawks fans flew into Riyadh just to watch them play. But this could be the breaking point, especially for the Red Hawks. But just now we saw a scary sight, AJ. We saw that Hotshot is already down 11th spot. Dragon Esports, they have a hell of a good chance of making it if their run continues in this manner.
I honestly thought you were going to say Dash Buddy, but okay. I know exactly where you're coming from. This is danger zone for sure. And obviously, we have to say goodbye to one squad, Alpha 34. We already knew that they stood no chance, but a hot shot's getting pushed down nowhere. Pakistan can't do anything about that as well. Out of Group B, not a single booyah on their side. 87 points. The bar to exceed is pretty low. But the question still remains, can the teams actually oust Fluxo from their number 6 spot with 106 points in hand? They look pretty solid up there.
Yeah, they do. I think right now, if you are looking at just the standings alone, right? I feel like Dragon Esports, they should be very, very proud of what they achieved. I think the fans from Bangladesh should be very proud of this debut appearance on an international tournament at EWC of all things. I would not be able to handle the nerves, but here they are, 2 positions away to make it into top 12. And all they gotta do from that point onwards is to maintain it.
Yeah, I mean, Red Hawks obviously need to hustle quite a little bit before they can stand a good chance to sneak into the top 12. And we do have 4 more games on standby here. There's a lot that could happen. We just saw a miracle in front of us. Vision System out of nowhere pulling off a massive game. And that's exactly what Red Hawks need to aim for. The safe plays are not going to cut it anymore. They are on the chopping block. If they don't go crazy, if they don't get aggressive looking for these important points, they are not going to stand a chance. Playing safe and just sneaking into the final circle is not going to cut it as a strategy for Red Hawks anymore. That could have been a strategy from the very start of the competition, but too many of those opportunities have been let go already. And they're not the only ones in trouble. Virtus Pro, did you ever imagine a day that we would see them at the bottom 6?
Definitely not. I think for this point, they really need to buck up, right? They got 4 more rounds. There's still opportunities, but cannot make any more mistakes from this point onwards. But before we jump into Kalahari for map number 3, we actually talked to Pain Gaming, so let's listen to what they have to say.
Hi everyone, it's Yunso and welcome to my interview with the Pain Gaming. So into our first questions. How do you guys feel after taking a rest from the game and today coming with the group A and Group C with very top performance teams? Then how do you feel right now? Same thing depois. Como vocês se sentem depois de ter esse dia de folga e agora jogar novamente com o próximo grupo?
É bem tranquilo, porque a gente já jogou o primeiro dia já. A gente já tem a noção do que fazer no terceiro dia, porque é muito bom jogar o último dia para sempre ter uma vantagem de pontos.
You said that they are confident and they are okay with that, and playing the third day, the last day, is always good because they know they saw all the other teams and everything, so they are fine with that. Yeah, that is a great spirit that I love to hear. So what about loss? How do they feel about losses? Yesterday, loss was very high. Ela perguntou como vocês se sentem agora com a Luz, né, que foi muito bem ontem e tudo mais. Como tá para vocês esse sentimento?
Bom, é sempre muito bom times brasileiros desempenhando bem e, querendo ou não, nossa meta é ser o melhor time brasileiro e ser o melhor time da competição e ter essa disputa saudável com eles, né? Tentar passar eles até hoje.
He said that for us, with the Brazilian teams going well, we are so happy for them, but we want to be the best team on Brazil and win the championship. So they are happy for them, but we'll beat them today. I understand. So last questions to end our story here. What are you guys expecting the most for today's game? O que vocês esperam de hoje, dos jogos de hoje e tudo mais?
A gente espera um jogo mais agressivo, um jogo também que a gente está visando tirar algumas equipes para a final. E é isso. É um jogo mais agressivo que a gente precisa buscar fazer pelo menos aqueles 30 pontos. Então, um jogo mais calmo para a nossa equipe e algumas equipes precisam pontuar, principalmente a equipe da Ásia.
Our coach says that we need to be more aggressive today, and we need to make at least 30 points. So we are looking for this aggressive game today, and we know that some teams need to make some points too, and we are here to beat them. All right, I think it's enough for today, and of course, today's game is going to be the last day of a knockout stage, so everything is going to be very intense because we only have 12 slots to go into the finals. Let's give support for our team. Of course, support the best Brazilian fans. Support for your favorite team. Here I have the Pain Gaming. Good luck to you guys all today. Fighting!
Pain Gaming ready to deliver the worst to their opponents to keep their spot here in the top 12. At this point of time, they've got 101 points in the bag. That should be good enough, but I'm very sure they want a few more.
Yeah, I like how the coach was managing expectations. I want them to get 30 points. Yeah, come on, you can get 30 points in one game. And fun fact, Pain Gaming actually in the community tournaments, right after the FA Miss Brazil in the earlier season, they actually took out teams like Lost and Fluxo. Oh, yeah. So there is a storyline right now that we are getting closer to its conclusion, where there's a universe. We make it to Point Rush. If Fluxo doesn't make it, it means that the other two teams that have bested them and put them second will be there. Pain and Loss. Can you believe it?
I most definitely can believe it. Anything is possible here on the world stage. Anything is possible at the Esports World Cup. And here you go. The teams in danger. 6 of them. Red Hawks, one of them. They need a miracle for sure. Vision System just showed us what sort of a miracle they are capable of. And obviously, we want to see a little bit more from the Chilean squad. AGAL, though, at Foundation. And very early gunshots here. Not so sure exactly who's aiming for their heads, but they should be pretty safe. I believe we saw a player from the side of RRQ quickly sneak away from Foundation. Very sneaky from RRQ, trying to take over 2 compounds at the same time.
Yeah, it was a buy. He fired a couple of shots, and he's like, okay, I'm going to go back to where my team likes the most, which is Refinery, and that has always been the headquarters of RRQ. Goes actually out in the open, finds an airdrop. Bit of a lady luck to say, fortune smiles upon the bow. Pain Gaming so far have really been tearing it up.
Well, this next circle should give us a rough idea as to how the movements of the squads will go. Circle 1 still pretty balanced in the middle, just moving down south side a tad bit more. Redhawks, the read is pretty accurate from a lot of the squads, but Redhawks getting into a little bit of a tussle here. A command post, not the best of things to happen to the squad that needs a miracle in terms of points, and they could not get away. Crime dropping down like the god of death with the M590 delivers exactly that.
I felt like the Redhawks made the wrong read. And this command post is an Onyx place to be at. They made the rotation straight in. And now Onyx are going to chase down as much Redhawk members as they can. Kutush will be the first point of contact. Ducks away to the sub. There is a chance for them to lead Onyx into paying gaming, but if you are Redhawks, you cannot be in a position where you are just running for your lives. In this case, they don't really have a choice. Kutush puts up the blue wall, but it's only a matter of time before Noki blasts through that, and Kutush will just have to fight for his life. Doesn't have the help to do so. 3 points for Onyx.
Had the right gun, just did not have the right timing there. That plasma gun had enough bullets in the mag to continue spraying on for days. It just didn't help the fact that the assault rifles are now doing more damage to those glue walls. Glue wall melters are very useful, but the assault rifles will bring them down in no time as well.
Zyro actually making a rotation down to the southeastern side and run straight into BRU. So that's going to be some information given over to the team. Instant revive for Onyx. Nothing much was lost in the process. Zyro opts to drop back to command post, even using the binoculars. So we turn our attention to Mammoth. That's where Redhawks escape to. They will be near Pain Gaming as Movistar R7 takes on Falcons.
Great recovery here for Redhawks. The double revival still keeps them in play. R7, Riptide Rhythm's gonna block him. The Chrono popped instantaneously. Doesn't take any damage whatsoever on fire. Backs away to the rest of his team members as Della is found. Peter with the aggression on fire though. Misses by a single second. Circles around, finds another window, calls for backup into Roro as well. Electrotherapy on play, but it's not enough. On fire though, keep the squad in play. On the drop of the M590. And the pickup is not too troublesome at all. Falcons making quick work of Movistar.
Yeah. Games King tried, he really did. Joker was able to run away to confinement. There is a vending machine there. They should have been poised to get a revive going, but AGAL is not doing that well. Cypher and Barrow is removed from the equation as both now. So that made actually a bit of a ricochet. Dew able to jump away. Can they pluck him out of the sky? Dew is going to land, but General and Holiday is on the case. Trying to go for a swim. That first one is going to miss. Shooting fish in the barrel. Dew makes it to dry land, but Los continues the pursuit.
Double glue wall and Dew sends the response. He's got the M82P. Riptide Rhythm breaks down the defense. One more shot applied and Dew missing the final opportunity. Haone stepping on out. Dew taking on two players at the same time. But not enough glue walls to keep him safe for long. Dew finally is sacrificed, but bought the squad enough time so the rest of them could get away.
Saved by a tree, General. Ducking behind nature to keep himself in the running. Dew going down puts AGL at once more another precarious position. Sure, the revives come true, but they've lost big weaponry. Vision System, the second place finisher in the previous round, now finds themselves head to head with Dragons Esports. The two teams that both get in and Tash ventured early on in the head to head.
Dragons not too far away from the top 12, but once again, the teams that they're going up against here in the bottom 6 are mostly from groups A and C who are in play today. Alpha 34, the one squad that can't do much about their position. Hot shots as well. So 2 spots guaranteed. In order to make more, they need to push Fluxo out of the leaderboard here as well. And that is most definitely going to take a massive amount of points. Vision System, I wonder if this miracle play can continue for them though.
It's looking more and more possible for sure. Yeah. But the consequences of that would be pushing up Fluxo means that Hotshot is guaranteed to not qualify.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are the next on the list, next on the chopping block.
I think it's pretty much guaranteed already. Hotshots are not going to be making a 2-point rush. They're just way too close to the bottom of the leaderboard. And the rest of the teams don't really need all that too much. For example, Dragons, they only need about 20 points.
20 points,
yeah. 20 points. that's not a lot. I mean, Dragons in the previous game, massive stuff. Getting to the final circle, 6 eliminations, it's going to be more than good enough for them. They just need to do that, and they've got 4 chances to do so, right? So I'm hoping India gets a shot here at Point Rush. Doesn't matter what they pull away from the grand finals. Seeing them there at Point Rush and grand finals itself is going to be absolutely fantastic.
And it gives them a chance to win the whole thing with the Champion Rush format too. We've seen that happen firsthand with Onyx.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from Onyx, they definitely are doing slightly better than they did in their first day of match. But I think it's also fair to say that if Dragons make it through, this is going to be the first time in a grand final setting we have someone from a less mentioned region.
Yeah.
That will be historical.
Absolutely. I mean, they are pretty much the favorites at this point of time for many of them in Saudi Arabia. Can you imagine after this competition, Dragons Esports finds themselves a little bit of a bigger sponsor, maybe one that has got a hub here at the Boulevard itself?
We've seen Twisted Minds pick up the roster of the current Virtus Pro last year. Right, not the greatest run, but it is a possibility.
Falcons may be taken already by the squad that we see in front of us, but Twisted Minds still waiting for a team to be worthy so they can pick one up. But Kingsley walking away. Movistar R7 in a lot of trouble. Limit. DSS in hand, got the rate of fire, and switches out to the M590 just to torture and white Riptide rhythm courtesy of Limit. Going 2 for 2 there.
2 for nil. So much commitment from the side of Movistar R7. You can't blame them. They needed to stay in the round, and they know that they have to play distraction. So that 2 revives early on is going to carry on the legacy of R7 in this round. But for Team Falcons, they've definitely found their mojo. 7 eliminations and counting. And confinement, plenty of time to loop things up. The blue is closing in, but it doesn't really affect Falcons too much just yet.
Limit is super rich at this point of time. 2,900 coins in his pocket. Falcons coin rich in case anything does go south for the squad. Finding a recovery isn't going to be that big of a problem, but finding a recovery on a map like Kalahari late game is going to be a massive issue for sure. So Falcons need to stop flirting around outside the safe zone and make it into the circle. But when they get to Bayfront, they should bump into R7 once again. RRQ, on the other hand, sneaking around, just making good use of the lower ground. And this is a smart play from RRQ. They're anticipating for the circle to land somewhere around here. And the final circle to get to the spot where RRQ is at, the probability is extremely high.
The ones that we're focusing on is Bane Gaming against them, and sadly Barrows didn't really get a chance to fight back. He tried to be the hero early on, and this time he will just be a past memory. Bane Gaming finding 2 easy pickoffs, and AJL, I feel like we've seen this storyline before. He picks himself back up, but who's on the portal, tries to go for the buffer, couldn't make it in time. He really tried, but he just could not escape on Tobia.
Yeah. No glue wall there to make a miraculous play happen for himself. A tad bit unfortunate. Had the horizon line in hand. We were about to see a miracle play courtesy of Dew. One of the best snipers in the past. Just hasn't been hitting those sharp shots recently.
And that will free up the path for rotation for Pay. They are pretty deep out into the circle. And let us scan for the Dinoculus early on reveals where Red Hawk is. I feel like I could say it could be from Pay because that's the most direct path into the circle. If you try to circle around the northern side, then cross the refinery, it's going to take too long with the siren blaring.
Raone surely on the move, looking for Russia's number 1 spot in terms of being the deadliest guy out there on the battlefield. Not too far away from getting that done. Vision system from up top. Beautiful knock onto Joker. That's not going to be enough to stop the pace of the squad. For the time being, though, nobody else has got the elevation to deal with Vision System. But a couple of hook guns and a couple of jumps later, Vision System's going to be in a lot of trouble. But for the time being, the circle looks for them. Great positioning from the squad.
The biggest winner right now on the map is actually Los. They are uncontested, coming in from the northern side. And they can get a free entry if they want.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the team, it's about to get incredibly bloody. We are almost 12 minutes in, and we still have 11 full squad. And to fight at the eastern side of the refinery, A couple of structures, high-rise structures, but plenty of open ground.
We also spotted Loss using the binoculars, managing to scan out 4 players on the side of Movistar R7. So they do know that if they make a straight D-line for the safe zone here, they're going to be in a little bit of trouble. But all thanks to the elevation that Kalahari presents, they play the cliffs to their advantage. They maintain cover as they approach